You know, in the incredibly tense skies over West Asia, a conflict is not just escalating, it's accelerating. This isn't just about missiles and drones anymore, it's really about a race against time. So today, we're going to dig into how one single factor, speed, is threatening to completely rewrite the rules of war as we unpack the claims and counterclaims from Iran, Israel, and the United States. This quote right here really nails it. It's not just that things are getting more intense, it's the pace of it all that's changing. We are entering a brand new phase of conflict, where the time it takes for a weapon to get from point A to point B, well, that could be the single most critical factor in a war. Okay, so let's break down who the main players are. At the center of this whole thing, you've got three key actors: Iran, Israel, and of course, the United States. And here's the crucial part. Each one of them is telling a very, very different story about what's actually happening on the ground. All right, first up, let's look at the narrative that's coming from the US and Israel. Their position, as they tell it, is that they're on the offensive. They're running this high-pressure campaign specifically designed to cripple Iran's military capabilities before they can be used. And the claim here is all about precision. The idea is that these aren't random strikes. They're hitting very specific military assets. We're talking about things like missile depots, key military bases, and other vital infrastructure. The whole point, they say, is to strategically take apart Iran's ability to launch attacks. And here you have it, the official word from the Pentagon. They are framing this campaign as a huge success. They're not just saying they're trying to reduce Iran's ability to strike, they're claiming they've already done it and done it significantly. And the Pentagon is putting some pretty hard numbers behind that claim. The data they've released is, well, it's dramatic. They're alleging a 90% drop in ballistic missile attacks and an 83% decrease in drone attacks. So from where they're sitting, this mission is a clear success. But like we said, that is only one side of this story. Because while Iran is facing all this intense military pressure, it's pushing a very different narrative of its own. And that story is one of defiance and a powerful counterattack. So from Tehran's perspective, this isn't about aggression at all. It's about self-defense. This quote frames their entire military response as a necessary action to protect their country from what they call American bullying. And that response even has a name: Operation True Promise 4. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that's the IRGC, claims this is a major counteroffensive aimed directly at the assets of the very countries they hold responsible for the attacks on their soil. So what is Iran supposedly firing back with? Well, the IRGC says it's deployed a whole range of advanced missiles. You've got the Kabar Shakan, the Qadra, but the most alarming part of their claim? It's that last little detail on the list, that some of these weapons have hypersonic capability. And if that's actually true, it changes everything. So let's break that down. Why is the claim of using a hypersonic weapon such a massive deal? Why is it a potential game changer in this conflict? Well, it all comes down to one thing: time. See, at its core, hypersonic isn't just a buzzword for really fast. It means going so unbelievably fast that it just shatters the existing rules of defense. The velocity is so extreme, it basically breaks any defense system's ability to react in time. Just think about how traditional missile defense is supposed to work. It's a sequence, right? And every single step in that sequence takes time. First, you have to detect the launch. Then, your computers have to calculate where it's headed based on a predictable flight path. And only then can you fire an interceptor to try and meet it. Okay, now look at this number. Iran is claiming speeds of over 15,000 kilometers per hour. A velocity like that just completely obliterates the timeline that those defense systems are built on. And here's what that crazy speed means in the real world. At that velocity, the travel time from a launch site in Iran to a target in Israel is just 6 to 7 minutes. 6 to 7 minutes. That's barely enough time to figure out what's even happening, let alone try to mount any kind of effective defense. So here's the absolute crucial point. Time itself becomes the weapon. Traditional defense systems completely rely on having enough time to react to a threat that moves in a predictable way. But a hypersonic weapon, which can often maneuver, by the way, it doesn't just challenge that defense, it attacks the very foundation of it. It simply erases the time advantage defenders have always counted on. So let's pull back for a second and look at the bigger picture here. This technological claim isn't just about one new weapon. It represents a potential shift in the entire strategic balance of power in the region. This quote from our source material just perfectly sums up the stakes. When your reaction time shrinks from several minutes down to just a handful of seconds, the advantage shifts dramatically to the offense. It creates this new, much more volatile reality where the sheer speed of an attack could be the one thing that decides who wins and who loses. And all of this leaves us with a huge, critical question for the future of warfare. And not just in West Asia, but everywhere. As offensive weapons get faster and faster, can our defensive technology ever hope to keep up? It's a new kind of arms race, a race against time itself, where the finish line just keeps getting closer.